Well, an exciting one today. We've got the new Legion Go S entry-level handheld from Lenovo. Now, they're bringing out two this year, well, actually three. You're going to get the Legion Go S with Windows, the Legion Go S with Steam OS later on in the year, and the Legion Go 2, which hasn't been released yet. Now, we loved the Legion Go. For the last year or so, this has been my favourite handheld. So really excited when I saw the announcement releases, and I do want to get that Legion Go 2 in, but this is a great entry-level model. Now, it is very slightly cheaper than the Legion Go, but you can probably get this on special offer now. But the Legion Go S features the new Z2 chip, which is actually a cut-down chip, so not as powerful as the Z1 Extreme. Now, we will do a head-to-head with the Legion Go with the Z1 Extreme in an upcoming video, so please make sure you subscribe if you want to see that one. Also, please hit that like and comment if you can. It really helps the algorithm. Now, let's unbox it. Now, this one came in at £650 in the UK because I've bought the 32GB version, but it starts at £600 for just the 16 gig. Now, I wanted the 32 gig just to try and future-proof it a little bit. So let's see what is in the box with it. So we have a very similar power adapter to the Legion Go, so it's a straight into your wall socket with the adapter on the back. Nothing else in there. The actual Legion Go itself. And let's see what this is. Paperwork. I think this is some kind of stand. Looks like they're trying to outdo the ROG Ally and give us a plastic stand. Fantastic work, Lenovo. That's really quality stuff. And then let's go to the actual box itself. Oh, what's that? Little extend your warranty cards. Here we are. Right, so no case with the Legion Go S. Now, if you remember the Legion Go, we did get a really nice travel case, which is nice, but now they're trying to sell that separately. This is a little bit cheaper than the Legion Go was when it released, but I still would have liked a nice carry case when you're paying £600 or £650 for one of these handhelds. Right, here we are, the Legion Go S. Now, as I say, this is the entry-level model for the Legion Go range. It doesn't have the removable handles like you got with the Legion Go, but we still get a nice 8-inch screen, a solid looking and feeling device, much rounder than the Legion Go with its sharp angles. So this instantly feels a lot more comfortable in your hand than the previous Legion Go. Right, let's quickly weigh it. Now, apparently it's 730 grams. Let's take a quick look, see if that is true. 744 grams, so a little bit heavier than stated on their website. And gently put that on top. 939 grams with the power supply, so under a kilogram to travel with the power supply. So straight away, looks very much like the ROG Ally, but a much larger version in that you're obviously just the standard handheld unit, no removable pads like the Switch or the Legion Go, and no kickstand that we get on the Legion Go. But I have to be honest, this is probably what I want most from a handheld because I am usually holding it like this and using it. It does feel so much more comfortable. Now we've got Hall effect joysticks. They feel fantastic. And the D-pad feels a little bit soft and squishy, but it's okay. We'll try that in some games in a little while. Now down below here, we've got a little touchpad, which we'll try in a sec, and upward firing speakers. Now if we look to the top, you can see we've got the vents here. So all the hot air is pumping out of the top of the device. And then we've got two USB 4s, which is really nice. USB 4 again means we can use it with an eGPU, so we'll probably do a video of that in the future. We've got a headset jack, we have volume buttons, and the power button. Then we've got obviously the top triggers. These are quite clicky. And then we've got the actual standard triggers at the back, which are lockable. So if you take it off, you've got your normal like analog type triggers, or you can lock them on, and they're more like buttons. It's quite a nice little feature. Then on the back, you see we've got another couple of buttons here for the rear of the device and the air intakes. Looking to the bottom, we've got a micro SD card slot on the bottom. Now I do prefer that feature. Now previously you had it on the top on the Legion Go, but it's out the way on the bottom because it's one of those things you rarely access anyway, just to put some extra storage in. And I like having the fact that we've got the two USB 4s on the top. Now on the Legion Go we had one on the bottom, but it was really awkward to get to, so I never really used it. Right, so let's fire this up, set up Windows and start testing it. Okay, so we've turned it on. I've gone through the Windows setup process, which was very easy, though it does take a little bit of time. And we're now presented with the nice wallpaper with the Lenovo Legion logo in the top and the Legion logo in the middle. It looks really nice. I like the color theme. I did want to mention that obviously if you buy the Windows model like this one here, you get this nice sort of creamy white color, which looks really good. And it's certainly a lot creamier than, say, the Ally, which is a pure white, the original Ally. But I'm really liking the look and feel so far with this device. Now we do get the lit rings like we do with the original Legion Go, but we've got the Legion cutouts now, so you've got like the 3 sections rather than a pure circle. Now the trackpad is this tiny little button here, and it does work really well considering how small this is. It actually is useful, and it is very heavy haptic feedback when you're using it. Now personally, I so rarely use these touchpads, I don't think I'll be using this at all, but it's handy to have it there. Obviously it is a touch screen like these usually are, and it's very responsive. Now the screen itself is only a 1200p screen this year, but 8 inches, whereas the Legion Go was a 1600p screen. But with it's an 8-inch screen like this, 1200p looks fantastic, and does make running games at native resolution much easier. Now it's also 500 nits of brightness, and something we get on the Legion Go S this year that we didn't get on the original Legion Go is a variable refresh screen, so you're not going to get some of that tearing that you did get on the original Legion Go, and I know a lot of gamers are going to be happy about that. That was one of the big advantages the Ally had over the Legion Go when we looked at those. And 500 nits of brightness as well. It does feel nice and bright, and we're in quite a bright studio here. Obviously still very glossy like most of these handhelds are, and because it's a touchscreen. Now we've obviously got the little command buttons either side here. They are a little bit cheaper feeling than the original Go. They were quite stiff. Now if we press the top button here, it brings up the Legion Space software with their own store, your library, your settings, and this gives you all your like display of the actual CPU and GPU and fan speeds. You can actually change some of these other features here as well. So you can go to your performance and customize all your performance settings. We'll look at that in a second. This can be all done through the Space software. Same with the controller. You can change a lot of your controllers and your colors of your joystick lights. Let's put it something else. There we go. Now this can also be done through their overlay as well. So that's the top left is the Space software, but the top right is your overlay. And from within here, I really like this overlay. You can straight away, you can change the thermal mode. Now the power button shows you the thermal mode you're in. We're white at the moment, which is your normal balanced. If we change it to quiet, you'll see it goes blue. If we change it to performance, we get red, and then custom, we get the purple. And it shows up to 40 watts on the custom mode. Now this is something we will be testing further, especially in our dedicated review and comparisons. But for the moment, we'll just do some quick benchmarks on those in a little while. So I'm going to put that back on balanced for now. Okay, so the screen overall, very pleased with, very positive. Also within here as well, you can change apparently the actual fan profile. So I'll play with that later on as well. So that is on the top performance section. You do also get another little option here down below, which allows me to adjust the screen brightness on the fly rather than go through window setting. And you also have your volume there as well as the rocker switch on the top. We can turn Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on and off, and you can change the resolution and the refresh rate. By default, it comes out at the 120 Hz that the VRR screen has. And I think for an 8-inch display, 120 Hz is absolutely fine. Now from within here, we can adjust the controller. We can do some quick system settings. So from within here, you can change the key bindings and the controller layout. You can also change the vibration level. You can do the lighting effects from within here as well if you don't want the granularity from the Space software. But another thing that some people did mention is the haptic feedback on here is quite high. You can actually disable the touchpad vibration if you wish. There you go, which I think a lot of people will prefer. I wish you could also change the level of haptic feedback. We've also got the touchpad DPI, but I think the 800 is what, on an 8-inch screen feels perfect. And then we'll say we've got the system quick settings, a productivity mode, and you can actually put it to sleep, restart, shut down from here as well. So it's a really handy overlay, and I did like that about the original Go. They've certainly improved on it over the years, but this is really quite an impressive little bit of kit. With regards to the speakers, let's say we've got the 220-watt upward firing speakers. They sound very good, they're not tinny at all, but they don't get overly loud. So if I just quickly play some music. Now, if we whack this up to 100% volume, that's 100% volume, firing directly at me, so you should hear that on my microphone. So the sound quality is good, they just don't get overly loud. But for a handheld that you can be using in front of you, I think that's going to be more than fine. You could also just put on a headset or a Bluetooth speaker if you preferred. Okay, so now what I want to quickly talk about is the actual Z2 Go in this actual handheld itself. Now the Z2 Go is a more budget orientated chip, which is why this should be much cheaper than the Z1 and Z2 Extreme chips, which are their top tier. Now basically what we're getting with this chip is 4 cores and 8 threads, as opposed to the Z1 Extreme's 8 cores, 16 threads. And also the maximum speeds on the Go is actually only 4.3 gigahertz, whereas you're getting about just over 5 gigahertz on that Extreme chip. Now in regards to actual CPU performance, there's quite a big difference here. So running a Geekbench 6 test, I've run it on all the different profiles, but on the performance profile, we're getting 1652 on that single core, which is a little bit less than we get about 1750 on the original Legion Go single core. And then multi-core, where you've obviously got much fewer cores, we're getting 5636 on the Legion Go S, whereas the Legion Go Z1 Extreme got 9,500. Now the CPU performance on the whole isn't the end of the world, because for most of the games you're only going to be utilising 2 to 4 cores anyway, so I think that will be fine. But my next thing is, how does it perform in its 3D performance? That's something we've not really heard. Now allegedly we've got the same sort of chip as in the Z1 Extreme, but I don't know the clock speeds. But just running Time Spy on this device in its performance profile gave us 2,296. Now that is a fair bit lower than on the Z1 Extreme of the Legion Go. And particularly what I was worried about is the graphics score, which got 2,152 as opposed to about 2,600 on my old Legion Go. And again, you can see that's quite a poor CPU score as well. So this is going to perform a fair amount worse than the Z1 Extreme and also the upcoming Z2 Extreme when we can get our hands on them. Now, if you're a light gamer, that may not be an issue, and it will certainly play a lot of games at its 1200p at good setting, and we will be covering a lot more games in the full review. But so far, a little bit disappointed. I was hoping they would get a little bit less CPU, but still get the same GPU performance, but sadly that isn't the case. But the good news is the fan noise on this device has been very pleasant. Now, there is a whoosh when the fans and it's pumping that hot air out the top, but it certainly hasn't got any whiny fans, and it sounds pretty nice in long-term gaming, even on the performance profile, unlike the sort of the whinier fans that the Legion Go had. Now again, I will be doing a full head-to-head with this and the Legion Go in an upcoming video, so please make sure you are subscribed if you want to see that one. But for now, certainly think if you're getting a good price on a Legion Go, it could still be a better value than this if you're looking for pure performance. But one area I think this has certainly got the Legion Go beat is comfort. This does feel very comfortable, and that is going to translate to when you're actually gaming in your hand. Now, yes, it was nice that the Legion Go could have those removable controllers, but I so rarely did it. Having a solid handheld experience, in my opinion, is much better. And definitely this feels really comfortable in the hand. And so far, I'm really impressed with the controls on it. So controlling the actual gamepad feels lovely on this, I have to be honest. Really enjoying my gaming experience. Just playing some light games at the moment. And it is, you know, I think a really comfortable handheld. Now, yes, it is an 8-inch screen, and it is very large, but compared to the ROG Ally, this certainly feels as comfortable in my hands as using that smaller handheld. The buttons, the A, B, X, Y buttons do feel great. The joypads or the joysticks, these feel fantastic, very responsive, got just right amount of pressure, and I'm really enjoying using it. Now, I think the D-pad is certainly better than the Legion Go, actually, but it isn't, you know, my favourite D-pad. I think the Steam Deck D-pad is slightly better, but overall, it is, you know, it certainly is a really nice feeling sort of handheld to control. Triggers, they feel pretty good. Someone was saying they felt pretty loose, but I've not felt that. I'm thinking, you know, they're maybe a bit looser than the original Legion Go, but still really responsive. Now the buttons, top left and right buttons, are a little bit stiff and clicky, but again, no issues. Certainly does feel really nice to game on. Now just to quickly do a fan noise whilst I'm doing this here. Now this isn't the most powerful game, but just a quick listen on this one. So at 38 decibels, and it's just a comfortable whoosh. So overall, that is really pleasant. Certainly I'm enjoying using this. So firing up a bit of Street Fighter so I can test the D-pad. I do use a lot of fighting games on these handhelds. Fighting and racing games are pretty much my favourite. So let's have a quick look how this performs. Turn the sound off so you can hear me okay. And then hopefully you can hear the fan. This really is definitely better sounding than the old Legion Go. Right, so let's try this D-pad. Good start. I'm struggling a little bit here. Doesn't roll around very well. See, no problems with the actual analog stick doing the special moves, but I am struggling with the D-pad. So, there we go. Just not as easy. There, maybe it's just getting used to it. Doesn't seem to roll around very well. So yeah, definitely not the best D-pad. A bit disappointed, but then I was also quite disappointed on the D-pad on the original Legion Go. That wasn't great either. This is one area I think that they really need to improve on, is the actual D-pad. Now again, you can use your own controller if you don't like the D-pad that's on here, but it is disappointing when you're spending this much money. Now I have to be honest, the actual analog stick though is very good. No problems with that at all with these Hall sensors. In fact, I think I could probably use this, which is unusual. But yeah, the actual older style D-pad is not great at all. So I absolutely love these Hallmark analog sticks, but I'm not a great fan of that D-pad. Might be something I get used to, but straight away, I think I'm going to be just using these analogs. These are fantastic. So there we go. I think that pretty much covers the unboxings and first impressions of the new Legion Go S. I think for the right price, this could be an absolutely fantastic little handheld. Feels very comfortable in the hand. Speakers are good. Better fan noise than the original Legion Go. Only disappointment a little bit is this Go 2 chip. Now apparently they will be selling this as well with the Z1 Extreme chip inside of it, but that's not available in the UK at the moment. And there will be the Steam Deck version coming in a few months. Now the Steam Deck version is coming in at a very, very keen price, so that might be the one to wait for. As soon as we can get hold of a copy of Steam OS that is working on this console, we will be putting that on and doing an updated video on that too. But make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content. We've got plenty more video content coming on this Go S over the next coming weeks. And for now, thanks very much for watching.